Today, we're diving into something that feels like a really big deal in the AI space. We're talking about Anthropic's Claude Agent SDK. And look, this isn't just another incremental update. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about building with AI and what we can expect it to do. For the longest time, we've treated LLMs like these incredibly smart conversationalists, right? You give it a prompt, you get some text back, it's a chat. But what if we could move beyond that? What if an AI could take a goal, not just a question, and then figure out the steps to actually achieve it? Well, that's the heart of what we're exploring today.
And this is so important because we're not just talking about a new library or a new tool. This is a whole new mindset, a new paradigm for how AI fits into software. Anthropic even renamed their toolkit from the Code SDK to the Agent SDK just to hammer this point home. We're not just building coding assistants anymore. We're building autonomous agents.
This slide really just lays it all out. On the left, that's the world we've known. You give the LLM a prompt, it generates some text, it's a one-and-done reactive process. But on the right, that's the agentic model. You give it a high-level goal, and it doesn't just talk about it. It takes actions, it uses tools, and it delivers a verified result. It's the difference between asking an encyclopedia for the definition of a spreadsheet and asking an assistant to make you that spreadsheet.
And this quote just nails it. This is the core concept. When we talk about giving Claude a computer, we mean it's no longer trapped inside a chat window. It can actually write files, it can run commands, it can interact with a real system, pretty much like a human developer would. That ability to act and then see the consequences of its actions, well, that's the magic ingredient for true autonomy.
Okay, but how do you make an autonomous system you can actually trust? You can't just let it run wild. And this is where Anthropic has been really clever. They've built this architectural pattern, a loop, that's the engine behind every single agent you build with this SDK. Let's break it down. It all comes down to this simple three-step cycle. Gather context, take action, and verify work. And the key thing to understand is that this isn't a straight line. The agent runs through this loop over and over and over again, constantly checking its own work, correcting mistakes, and refining its approach. This is what transforms a potentially flaky LLM into a dependable digital worker. So, let's start at the top with step 1, situational awareness. Before an agent can do anything intelligent, it has to understand the world around it. It needs to know how to find the right information and make sense of it, completely on its own. One of the most fascinating features here is something called agentic search. Now, instead of relying on a complex kind of black box semantic search, the agent uses simple, old-school shell commands, things developers use every day, to find information. Why is this such a big deal? Because it's completely transparent. You can see exactly how the agent found what it was looking for. For any business that needs audit trails and high confidence, this is a total game changer. And to make all of this even smoother, the SDK includes what they call the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. The easiest way to think about this is like a set of secure, pre-built plugs for all the tools your company already uses. It handles all the tricky authentication and connection stuff, so the agent can just seamlessly pull data from Google Drive, Slack, GitHub, you name it, without you having to write a bunch of custom code.
Okay, so now the agent has its bearings, it knows what's going on, it's time to actually do something. But just taking action is only half the story, right? The other, arguably more important half, is making sure that action was the right one, and that it actually worked. And you might find this a bit surprising, but it turns out the most reliable action an agent can take is to generate code. Now, why is that? It's because code is precise, it's reusable, and most importantly, it's verifiable. The agent doesn't just try to create a report, it writes a perfect little script that can create that exact same report flawlessly every single time. So how does the agent actually use code to interact with the world? Through something called tool use, which you might also hear called function calling. It's a really smart and simple system. First, you, the developer, define a tool. Then Claude figures out it needs that tool and asks to use it with specific inputs. Now here's the crucial part. Your own code is what actually runs the function. The AI only suggests the action. You always maintain control over execution. That's a massive security feature. And this all leads us to that final critical part of the loop, verify work. The SDK gives you a whole suite of tools to make sure everything is on the right track. You've got code linting to catch syntax errors, automatic test generation to make sure new changes don't break old stuff, and even checkpoints so you can roll back if things go sideways. You can even use another LLM as a judge to give feedback on more subjective things, like the tone of an email it wrote. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually get started? Let's zoom out and look at the ecosystem Anthropic has built around this, because this is not some research project. These are production-ready tools you can use today. At the very core of this whole system is the engine, Claude 4.5 Sonnet. Anthropic is calling it the best coding model in the world, and it's been specifically tuned for the kind of complex reasoning and tool use that these advanced agents require. If you're going to build this stuff, this is the model you want powering it. And check this out. Even with this massive leap in capability, Anthropic at the price for Sonnet 4.5 exactly the same as its predecessor. That is a loud and clear signal that they are serious about getting developers and businesses to adopt this new agentic way of building. They want you to use this. And you're not going to be limited by your tech stack. The full-fledged Agent SDK is ready to go for Python and TypeScript, which, let's be honest, covers most of the AI development world. On top of that, you have stable API clients for major enterprise languages like Java and Go, with even more on the way. You can pretty much plug this into your existing systems right now. And for larger companies, listen up. This is absolutely enterprise-ready. Claude is deeply integrated with all the major cloud platforms. We're talking Microsoft Foundry, Google Cloud Vertex AI, and Amazon Bedrock. That means you get all the governance, security, and observability features that big businesses demand baked right in from day one. And really, that's the bottom line. This quote sums it up perfectly. The Claude Agent SDK is so much more than a new API. It's the thoughtful, well-designed pattern for building an entirely new class of software, digital workers that are reliable, auditable, and truly autonomous. So that brings us right back to the question we started with. But now it's for you to answer. The tools are here. The paradigm shift from an AI that just talks to one that actually does is happening right now. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with it?